honest to God, I just want to make people laugh and smile and have a good time and feel better for 1 hour.
So you just mentioned a second ago Jerry Seinfeld. You mentioned George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Robert Klein. Jerry's famously not blue. But when
Right.
I think of obviously Richard Pryor and George Carlin, I think of certainly more aggressive. You're famously squeaky clean. Why you aim to be so squeaky clean? And for you, what are the advantages of that? And do you feel there's any disadvantages to that?
Yes, there are both advantages and disadvantages. Another great question. I'm clean for two reasons. When I first started in comedy, when I came out here in 1980 to Los Angeles to do stand up, and you were auditioning to go on the talk shows, Carson, Merv Griffin, Dinah Shore, whoever's talk shows you were doing, you had to be clean. And when you were working in rooms that is in the clubs, you had to be clean, even if you weren't auditioning for the talent coordinators on their shows. Because if they were in the room watching somebody else and saw you be blue or really edge on stage, it would be impossible to get their attention because they were afraid for their own job. So you had to work clean. So I just disciplined myself into that. The second reason why clean is important is because you will get more very lucrative corporate work if you're clean. If IBM has a conference in Las Vegas and they're looking for somebody to entertain their 10,000 person mid-level management convention, you have to be squeaky clean. You can't even do double entendres. And many times they'll want to parse your act before you even do it. So it's better business to work clean. And third of all, I'm in my 70s, and people my age appreciate a cleaner act. And that was another thing we pitched to Tubi. I mean, I'm Dave Chappelle's biggest fan, Chris Rock's biggest fan, but there are people my age that just wince at some of the language and stuff, and so I feel like I don't want them to be uncomfortable. I'm not here like Richard was or George Carlin was to challenge the First Amendment. I'm not there to push the boundaries way out there. Honest to God, I just want to make people laugh and smile and have a good time and feel better for 1 hour. And that's all I want to do. I'm not out. I'm not Lenny Bruce. I'm not trying to test legal boundaries.
You seem so incredibly comfortable on camera. You've mentioned a lot of times in the press the daily grind that was your day job.
Mm-hmm.
What's that process like for you building up your show?
Well, it's your daily job. I think the guy that has the greatest work, there are two guys that had a spectacular work ethic in our business. One was George Carlin, who wrote for hours every day, and Jerry Seinfeld, who would discipline himself to write for a couple hours every day. Even if you don't have anything ruminating in your mind, you have to write every day. You have to discipline yourself to sit in front of that page and write. Something will happen. And you have to do it. And it's a grind. And all writing can be lonely and laborious and not productive, but you have to do it. And then you have to try it. And I think, I don't know what the average is, but I think 1 out of 10 concepts or jokes or bits that you come up with will ultimately make it into your long act. And Larry Miller, one of the great stand-ups, a great friend of Seinfeld, said, building a stand-up act is like operating a moonshine still. You get one drip at a time, and it takes forever, and it really does. And the beauty of not having my job, and I had the fortune of having an astonishingly wonderful job at NBC Los Angeles for 40 years. I was their main weekday weather guy. But I did 12 hours a day there. Then I would write. Then I would do shows between the early and late news and come back. But now that I'm retired from that job, I can discipline myself to write every morning. I can concentrate on the quality of my shows. And I have this residency, which allows me to do new blocks of material every time. So more than any other time in my career, my set is expanding more quickly. So it requires discipline, and it just requires sticking to it.